Minsan ba meron sa inyo sa mga grupo ninyo na nakinabang dun sa mga development projects?
Listen to the ones who may need divorce.
Militarization, unfortunately, is still happening in Mindanao.
If reforestation is only to be done by government, hindi natin matatapos ito.
Mas pinalawak na talakayan, mas masusing paghihimay sa may init na usapin at mga isyong panlipunan.
Imbestigahan niya ako. Set a date. I invoke my right to remain silent.
Definitely, hindi pa ako spy.
Samahan niyo ako tuwing araw ng linggo, alas 12 ng tanghali, para alamin ang bawat katotohanan sa likod ng kontrobersya.
We are continuing our conversation about the climate situation in our country. The Philippines, for the third straight year, registered the highest World Risk Index in the 2024 edition of the World Risk Report. This measures level of exposure, vulnerability, susceptibility, lack of coping capacities, lack of adaptive capacities to crisis, including extreme natural disasters. All of which the Philippines, our country, has shown poor reception. At sa gitna po ng mga sakuna na nananalasa sa ating bansa at ang mga epekto na nararanasan ng ating mga kababayan, ano pa nga ba ang dapat nating paghandaan? And to lead us in this discussion, joining us in our program is the Executive Director and Vice Chairperson of the Climate Change Commission, Secretary Robert Borge. Secretary Borge, magandang tanghali po and welcome to our program.
Magandang tanghali, Ma'am Rose. Maraming salamat sa imbitasyon na kayo ay makasama dito sa DZRH. Maraming salamat po sa oportunidad na makasama kayo at marinig ng ating mga kababayan.
All right, sir. We're beginning this discussion. Can you give us a general view on what are we dealing with in terms of how quickly the climate has been changing, specifically in our country? This includes trends that show how climate change is changing in a way that Filipinos will understand na nangyayari nga po itong climate change sa ating bansa.
Maraming salamat sa katanungan na yan. It's a very important question because the climate situation has changed drastically, not just for the Philippines, but for the entire world. Kung naririnig natin sa ibang mga bansa katulad ng Espanya, ang flash floods na hindi nila nararanasan before, it's the same and if not even more complicated, lalo na sa Pilipinas. Alam naman natin ang Pilipinas ay nasa typhoon belt. So by geography already, we already have a handicap kung sasabihin pa. At tayo rin ay nasa Pacific Ring of Fire. So apart from climatological issues, may mga issues pa tayo sa earthquake and volcanoes. And that accounts for the persistent placement of the Philippines in world risk indices. But be that as it may, gumagawa naman ng ating pamahalaan, and I think the figures will show that when it comes to preparation, the Philippines has made the significant strides. But certainly, when we talk about climate change, the new normal is changing. If before we were used to certain types of rainfall, ngayon mas marami ang rainfall natin. What to expect for a country that's already experiencing an average of 20 typhoons a year? Ang expectation is that the typhoons, the tropical cyclones, will become even more intense. So kasama dyan ang pagdating sa wind speed, kasama na rin dyan ang volume ng ulan. And ito ay importante dahil ang Pilipinas ay isang archipelagic at coastline country. And when we talk about flooding, the phenomenon of flooding, meron tayong pluvial, fluvial, and typhoon surges na. So when we have a warning already about a severe weather event such as a tropical cyclone, dapat on these 3 points, we are already prepared. Also, the temperatures are rising. Kung nakita natin nung summer, ilang beses din nag-call ng warning ating ahensya katulad ng Pag-asa dahil masyado nang mainit. So, temperatures are expected to rise over 42 degrees Celsius. Sa tinatawag naman natin na slow onset ng mga phenomenon, kasama na dito ang sea level rise. Ang Philippines naman, ang sea level rise rate niya is twice that of the world. So as a coastal and as an archipelagic country, we have to be very much aware about its impacts on our country. And alam naman natin, we have a very complex geography. And ang sinasabi nga namin sa Climate Change Commission, climate change is the global governance challenge of our generation. At pinapakita nito ang intersectionality ng iba't ibang mga issues. Pero wag din natin kalimutan that it is also a function of time. Ang sinasabi namin is decades, if not centuries of our sins of omission and commission, yung mga ginawa nating masama ahead of the generation before us, and ang mga hindi nila ginagawa na dapat tama are catching up with us. So that is why the landscape seems to be very challenging at this point.
Yes, sir. You've raised such significant points there. You've mentioned about the temperature rising, yung mga heavy downpour na talagang nararanasan po natin. We'd like to know, what are the major contributor to climate change in our country? Especially sa La Nina po at saka sa El Nino na pinagdaanan na natin.
Sa climate change kasi, sa pag-aaral na atin ng mga scientists, climate change is caused by anthropogenic activities. Ibig sabihin, ang cause ng climate change ay aktibidad ng sangkatauhan, and it's global, historic, and systemic. And it all boils down to greenhouse gas emissions that we have. Ang hindi maganda, ang Pilipinas ay nagko-contribute lamang ng less than half of 1% to global greenhouse gas emissions. And then ang karamihan nito ay kontribusyon ng ating mga industrialized countries. And again, this has to be taken into the historic context because it's been centuries na bumubuga ng greenhouse gas sa ating atmosphere. And dahil nga dito, nag-hasten climate change at ang epekto ng climate change ay mas nararamdaman sa mga bansa katulad ng Pilipinas.
So we can say talaga na epekto po yung nararamdaman natin, no? Sir, generally, how are the Filipinos taking climate change as a climate or a national issue?
There has been a survey by SWS, and napakita nito na majority of our people know what climate change is and know the impact. And it's not surprising because for the Filipinos, climate change is very real. Ngayong araw lang na ito, ilang sudden downpour ng ulan ang experience natin. And alam natin na may nakaambang na severe weather event na naman na papasok sa ating Philippine Area of Responsibility. For the Filipinos, because we're a developing country, because we are at a certain state of development, the impact is differentiated and disproportionate, and nafe-feel yun lalong-lalo na ng mga mahihirap. In many ways, from heat, it affects not just productivity of our agriculture sector, it affects our ordinary na mamamayan dahil wala naman silang access sa pampalamig. Kasama na dito ang epekto nito sa buhay nila dahil kung sila ay trabahante ng isang MSME na hindi nakaka-afford na mag-adapt sa either mas mataas na temperatura, pwedeng sa baha or sa typhoon or bagyo, sila ang natatamaan kaagad. Kung kaya it's very telling also that I think in this survey, kailangan malaman kung ano ang iniisip ng mga Pilipino na maaari nilang gawin. At nakita naman dito na majority also want to contribute, whether it's adaptation or mitigation. Adaptation is paano tayo mag-adjust para sa epekto ng climate change. Ang mitigation naman, when we talk about that technically in climate change, yun yung pagpababa ng ating greenhouse gas emissions sa atmosphere.
Yes, sir, you've mentioned about
siguro
the mitigation.
Ang maganda din.
All right, sir, you can proceed.
I wanted to add also, it's also important that we empower our Filipinos not just on knowledge about what climate change is, but more specifically what they can do to lessen our contributions, our carbon footprint, and also to prepare them for the different types of disaster that we face. And the climate is just one of the climatological phenomena is just one of them, but we have to be really prepared as a country when it comes to disasters in the many forms that it takes.
Yes, sir, I agree. You mentioned about the adaptation and the mitigation in terms of like the efforts of the general public. Sir, ano po yung dapat approach natin? Kasi sabi nyo nga po, yung epekto talaga tayo yung nakakaramdam, lalo ng mga developing country, kahit na hindi naman tayo largely yung nagko-contribute to the climate change. Pero tayo yung nasasapul talaga ng mga mapaminsalang epekto. What should be our approach in dealing with the effects of climate change? Kasi some people, let's say they look at the data and figures and deal with it. Sabi nila, wag i-over-exaggerate because it will cause panic. Pero nagiging complacent yung mga tao, pati yung gobyerno. So what should be our attitude in dealing with the effects or in mitigating the effects of climate change?
I think the careful balance has to be made. No? We have to be cautious, but we also have to be bold in our preparations. Basic dito ang kaalaman. We do it we have the 4Ps Climate Change Commission. We have the pag-unawa, and then we have the pagpaplano, we have the paghahanda, and kailangan din na tayo ay may pagsunod. So itong 4 na Ps na to ay importante. We don't want to be very alarmist, pero we have to face the fact. We have to face the truth that climate change is happening. And ano po ang instrumento or tool para mas lubos nating maunawaan? Ito ay ang agham ng siyensya. Kailangan i-embrace natin siya para malaman natin kung ano talaga ang hamon na dulot ng climate change. We have to know ilan ang volume ng tubig na bubuhos sa atin. Siyempre, kailangan pag alam natin ito, what we want is preventive adaptation. Kumbaga, proactive tayo. Hindi tayo nag-aantay na tayo mag-react na lamang pag dumating ang isang disaster, bagkus ay meron ng pagpaplano at paghahanda. At ang pagpaplano at paghahanda na ito ay dapat science-based. And it will all impact on what we currently do. Ngayon kasi, syempre, meron tayong iba't ibang mga standards when it comes to construction, infrastructure, or even the way we do things. Because of the new normal under the climate change conditions, kailangan magbago na ito. Importante po talaga na malaman natin kung ano ang climate change, what are the different factors that contribute to it, what are the ways we can do to further adapt to it, and then we have to understand the systemic nature of climate change. Dahil lahat po talaga ng dimension ng ating buhay at kabuhayan ay naaapektuhan.
Right. Sir, you mentioned earlier na talagang nakita naman natin na our government is reactive when it comes to like the effects of climate change. Any thoughts on how the government is treating climate change and other environmental issues in general? Around this time, is it being prioritized, given more thought of, especially ngayon nga po, na nararanasan natin yung pinsala nito?
I would argue that the government has actually taken a more proactive stance under the Marcos administration. Day one pa lang sa policy pronouncements ni Pangulong Marcos, pinakita na niya ang kahalagahan na dapat tutukan ang climate change. And he also said that during the first State of the Nation address. Kung kaya't under the administration, if it's not known yet, it was only during this administration that we have a specific chapter on climate change and disaster preparedness sa Philippine Development Plan. It is also under this administration that we have finally completed the National Adaptation Plan, which acts as a roadmap for our different stakeholders to work on adaptive or preventive adaptation. Kung kaya lang, we also realize that the plans are also functions of time. Kami nga sa Climate Change Commission, natapos natin ang National Adaptation Plan within a span of 8 months dahil alam namin na importante siya. But it has to go through the process of being implemented sa ating mga lokal na pamahalaan. At kami ay naghahanda na para sa susunod na taon para i-roll out ito. But in the meantime, as we prepare for that for next year, patuloy pa rin ang ating pag-mainstream ng kaalaman tungkol sa climate change. Dahil hindi lang naman ang National Adaptation Plan ang pinagmumulan ng plano at hindi lang ang PDP, meron din ang National Climate Change Action Plan or NCCAP at meron din mga ibang mga laws, including our disaster risk law that will help prepare our people. Siguro po, ang masasabi natin is it's time to hunker down and really focus on the essentials when it comes to disaster preparedness. And preparedness is not just is preparedness. That means that we don't wait for the event to happen. If there are things that we can prevent, for example, nature-based, if we have nature-based solutions for issues such as landslides, we have the opportunity to correct that. And we have, of course, the full backing of government and the whole of society to make sure that environmental impacts are lessened or environmental solutions are further strengthened. And I believe that's the direction being taken currently by the Secretary of Environment and Natural Resources. Kailangan din po na sa paghahanda natin, kailangan ang ating climate finance aspect ay hindi nakakalimutan. Dahil ang climate change po, kung pinag-uusapan po natin ang global framework, nire-recognize naman ng UNFCCC na nangyayari ngayon ang Conference of Parties sa Azerbaijan sa Baku na ang mga developed states ay may responsibilidad para tulungan ang mga estado katulad ng Pilipinas paano sa pamamagitan ng means of implementation. And that includes technology development and transfer, climate finance, at capacity building. Doon po, ang Pilipinas ay malakas at naririnig po talaga ang boses natin. Ang sabi natin, ito ay isang issue ng hustisya, ito ay issue ng climate equity at kinakailangan ang mga pinaka-responsable sa climate change ay gawin ang kanilang nararapat na responsibilidad para tulungan ang mga naapektuhan at syempre pa ibababa ang emissions ng greenhouse gases.
You've mentioned that this administration has really been proactive in the environmental issues, and I was just gonna ask if ever we have these calls even looked at nung mga previous administration, do you think it would have changed the narrative that we are experiencing now?
I think we have to look at this in a continuum. The Philippines has progressed a lot, and I've been with government for more than 20 years. I am a career diplomat, and I was actually assigned a permanent mission to the United Nations when Yolanda happened. I also grew up in the province, and definitely the preparedness of communities during the 1980s was very different from right now. I remember a time when it was very difficult na magkaroon ng tinatawag na ngayon na preemptive evacuation. Around 1990s or the 2000s, medyo naging ano na siya, naging part of the lexicon na bokabularyo dahil regular na ginagawa ng ating pamahalaan at sumusunod na ang mga tao. I think we have to look at this factually and realistically. Over time, we have improved. But the thing with climate change is it is also changing the nature of the game while we're playing the game. So kaya kinakailangan na mas paigtingin pa hindi lang ang ating kaalaman, kung hindi pati na rin ang ating koordinasyon ng iba't ibang sangay ng ahensya. Again, we would like to say na science should be the bedrock or the foundation of all the work that we do. We have a group of international experts on climate change, the International Governmental Panel on Climate Change, that regularly comes up with findings. At syempre, magaling din naman po ang ating mga scientifico sa Pilipinas at ang ating ahensya. Ang kailangan na po talaga siguro is, we have to ramp up the things that we do. Preparation is key. Understanding is key. Sa amin po, we would like to think of our ordinary citizens not as simple susunod lang, pero kailangan na they really are a valuable stakeholder. And to do that, they have to understand, especially for some types of calamities that are preventable, they have a role to play.
Yes, you've mentioned, sir, about ramping up our efforts on the things to do in facing these disasters. So, sir, I just want to know, after the onslaught of the Typhoon Christine and Leon, were there drastic changes with the Commission's policies? So far, ano po yung mga general plans ng Commission in response to what we have experienced for the past 2 months? And how do we see this on the ground? You mentioned earlier na merong 4Ps yung Commission. How do we see this on the ground? And what government agencies are expected to take large parts in the implementation of these processes?
Thank you. Importante ang tinatawag na mainstream na nasa mandato ng Climate Change Commission. And when we say mainstreaming, hindi lang naman yung pagpapaalam sa phenomenon ng climate change. But mainstreaming means that the different agencies know what climate change is about and how it's going to impact the work that they do based on their mandate dahil nga nangyayari ang climate change. Mainstreaming also means that we have to work with our civil society and with our academe and our scientific communities. It also means that we have to work very closely with our LGUs. Mabalik lang tayo sa mainstreaming when it comes to national government agencies. For example, if I am from the Department of Public Works and Highways, and we already provide the Climate Change Commission provides climate projections along with the National Adaptation Plan, it behooves upon our agencies to see what the impact will be. Siguro ang pinaka-importanting issue dito, at ito naman ay alam namin na pinagtutuunan ng pansin ng ating DPWH, yung posibilidad na i-further increase yung standards or improve yung standards of construction, because definitely the standards of construction that applied for let's say 1960s do no longer apply sa panahon ngayon. If you remember before, in the 1970s, maraming mga lindol na above 7.5 ang intensity. Kung kaya't nagkaroon ng building code, and ang nangyari is dapat building should be built in a certain way para to withstand the strongest of earthquakes. Sa climate naman kasi, it's a totally different phenomenon, pero there are things that can be done. And maybe, again, ang importante is ang pag-unawa, and it applies to all, no? Pag-unawa, pagplano, handa, at syempre pa ang pagsunod sa polisiya ng pamahalaan. Importante ngayon ang rising issue is design. Ang pag-design ng iba't ibang mga plano at iba't ibang mga proyekto para maging climate change proof na siya. At importante din dito na ang ginagawa natin ay we integrate the latest projections, and that, again, when it comes to disaster risk reduction and management, no, is really preparing for identifying what the worst case scenario is. Kasi yun yung magiging basihan natin on how many lives, how many livelihoods we are going to protect.
So it's nice that you mentioned about the focus of our government now, which is the design to make every project's climate change proof. We have seen a large discourses about the government shifting its focus on flood control projects. Basically, ito po yung mga hard infrastructure as a response to typhoons. Are we in the right position now na binubuhos natin lahat ng budget natin, lahat ng atensyon sa pagbuo nitong mga flood control projects? Are we in the right position na dito natin binibigay lahat?
Thank you. I think ang magandang perspektiba para dito ay ang systems approach. And this is the emerging discussion now. Ang usapin ng flood control management ay hindi lang about flood control. Nare-recognize ngayon na it's the entire system kasi. It's not just building these structures. It's where these structures are going to be built, how they're correlated with, for example, surrounding the topography. Ilan ang mga tao na nandiyan dyan, paano sila makaka-apekto, malapit ba ito sa dagat, ano pa ang dapat i-consider since it's close to the water, sa coastline, kailangan i-consider pa ba ang factors, for example, storm surges. So the approach right now na nangyayari ay we have to take an integrated and comprehensive, ang tinatawag na dito, systems design and systems process. Dahil hindi natin ma-deny na lahat ng ito magkaakibat at magkakakonektado. For example, sa Metro Manila, when you talk about floodwater control and management, number one, you have to assess how all the structures are. Number two, if you're going to build new infrastructure, paano i-integrate naman yung kapakanan ng ating mga everyday citizens. Number three, kasama na rin dyan yung transportation, may madi-displace din ba? Number four, are we also going to displace human beings? So, it's complex and complicated, pero that's the direction that this government has been taking. And I think as a nation, we are being called to examine also our best practices and the lessons that we have learned. Nakikita natin sa screen ninyo ngayon the perennial problem of solid waste. And there has something needs to be ramped up when it comes to solid waste management. Actually, kung titingnan po natin ang ating mga batas, Ma'am Rose, marami sa ating mga batas are very forward-looking and strategic in nature, way ahead of other neighbors in the region. Siguro, kailangan nating pagtuunan talaga ng pansin ngayon is really how to really live the essence of the law and consequently to make the necessary behavioral and structural and system changes para ito ay maging sustainable at long-lasting.
And in terms of these systems, what is the Commission's role po in craft? Is it consultation, policy making? Ano po yung role dito ng Commission natin?
The mandate of the Climate Change Commission is that it's the lead agency for formulating and coordinating policies on climate change. And kami, we're also working on thinking of how to further enhance this role. I was told by my team also before that it was very, of course, it was doing its job, it was doing its mandate, pero ang gusto namin idagdag ay yung mainstreaming, which is letting the public know, letting our stakeholders know the different developments in climate change so that different policies from the different agencies can be adjusted accordingly. Dahil yun nga, ang sabi natin, ang climate change ay global governance challenge of our generation. And if we make sure that our stakeholders, including national government agencies, LGUs, our civil society, and even business right now, we're ramping up our partnerships with them para mas lubos na maintindihan kung hindi lamang ang hamon ng climate change, kundi ano pa ang pwede nating magawa para matugunan ang hamon ng mga ito at ano pang dapat nating gawin para we can work together as one whole society and also tap on different sources around the world to help us in our pursuit for climate resiliency. As we say in the Climate Change Commission, our work focuses on improving yung buhay, kabuhayan at kinabukasan ng ating bansa. And that is a lot of policy work but also a lot of coordination to make things understandable and closer to the hearts and minds of people.
So I think that's really an important aspect of response and dealing with this issue kasi kayo po yung naglalatag no, ng mga polisiya. And you've mentioned earlier about these standards of infrastructure. I'm just gonna throw off this issue as well na-mention nyo na po kanina about the placement of some structures na tinitignan natin kapag magtatayo tayo ng mga hard infrastructure na to. There are illegal structures sa mga protected areas natin. Malaking issue pa rin yung deforestation, illegal logging, and illegal mining. And all this contribute to climate change. How does the Commission actively mediate between the government and the private sectors na nangunguna po sa mga illegal activities na to since, like you've mentioned, you are a policy-making body?
I think it's important for us to understand that in government, there are different mandates for different agencies. For the Climate Change Commission, our mandate is to come up, formulate policies on climate change, and also coordinate with the different agencies. I think when it comes to implementation, the police powers, there are different agencies that are tasked to do that, and that's within their mandate. What we're saying at the Climate Change Commission, and this is perhaps something that's a little bit new and something that we require also help from our friends from the media, is this, yung sinabi ko kanina na systems approach, and yung sinasabi ko kanina na our sins of omissions and commissions from the past are also catching up on us. Kasi nga po, tayo ay produkto ng ating kasaysayan, tayo rin ay produkto ng polisiya at batas ng ating pamahalaan since the establishment of our republic. So, kailangan makita natin na ito'y dugtong-dugtong. Kung meron tayong makita mga batas na kailangan palakasin pa, gawin po natin. Kung kailangan po ang ating ang batas ay gagawin kasi bagong phenomenon siya, dapat handa tayo para dito. On those 2 points naman, the Climate Change Commission is working very actively with our stakeholders in the legislature, particularly in the House of Representatives and the Senate. Pero it's part of our quiet work, behind the scene work, para magbigay ng iba't ibang hindi lang opinion pero science-based and data-based na mga ng mga recommendations on how to improve certain laws. Ang importante lang ho siguro, no, we need to continue working very closely together, and we need to make sure that we are all doing our part. I think our CSOs are part of the reason why we are a vibrant democracy, and there's a reason why they've been identified, especially in our constitution, as partners of our national government agencies, so that we can implement the laws and the policies that we have. I think it's providential that we have President Marcos, who has spearheaded an administration that is more forward-looking when it comes to climate change, based on his pronouncement, of course, and based on his dealings with our development partners. Pero hindi lang ho sa isang tao, hindi lang siya sa isang ahensya. It truly takes the entire government to work together. And maybe what these things are happening, what these things are telling us, is that we have to look inside, what does the Filipino really stand for? What is the ano ba ang values na meron ng Pilipino? I remember when I was young, I was constantly told by my grandparents, kailangan, iho, ikaw ay magtanim ng 10 puno, or kailangan ikaw ay magsulat ng libro para ikaw ay magkaroon ng legasiya para sa iyong bansa. Isa pa nga dito, it's an old saying na you're going to have a family also. These are very simple things, but I think it needs recollection, and it needs re-emphasis that there are certain things that we can do at a very simple and a very basic level, but which are actually transformative. And we at the Climate Change Commission, we believe that tree planting and growing and protecting our environment and making sure that the ecosystems are managed well is key in making sure that we're not only prepared for climate change and other phenomena, but it is in fact a requirement for a country to be prosperous and resilient.
All right, sir. I like what you said there na tayo nga po ay produkto ng ating kasaysayan. And looking forward, sir, are we seeing a worsening climate situation given the efforts that we have now? Or next year, sa tingin niyo po ba, mababago yung naratibo sa pagharap natin given all the efforts and the shift of focus? Are there immediate effects to this?
You know, when you talk about disaster risk preparedness, there are several things, no? For the risk, tinatawag na risk formula. You have the hazards, you have the exposure, you have the vulnerability. But ang importanteng aspeto dito yung kapasidad. And that will tell us, again, yung sinasabi natin kanina na adaptive capacity. Of course, importante na we work on the root cause of climate change, which is lowering greenhouse gas emissions. And that's a commitment from the Philippines and other state parties to the UNFCCC. Yan ang mitigation part. Pero importante din po yung kapasidad. Kasi kung ikaw naman, nakikita mo na ang projections ay mas intense weather phenomena. So, what do you do? Exposure, limitahan mo exposure ng mga assets, for example, critical assets ng ating pamahalaan or ng ating mga tao. Huwag natin silang i-expose sa tinatawag na hazards. Kung alam mo naman ang hazard, for example, dilubyo or sea level rise ay ganito, syempre, sila. And then you know the vulnerabilities. Yan yung letter V sa risk formula. Dahil alam mo na ang community na ito, around 40% ay living below the poverty line. So ibig sabihin, mag-prepare ka dahil iba ang kinakailangan preparations for the 40%. So it really does, how do I say this? It emphasizes the important role of planning and the link between planning and the need for the science should be its foundation, and the link of these two to implementation. Siguro naman, alam na natin, and sometimes it's a sad lesson of history, na kailangan it takes a disaster for things to be better. Pero ang gusto natin is we don't want any disaster to happen anymore. We only have to look at our neighbors to make sure that we follow a certain model. Ang challenge lang po talaga natin, ang Pilipinas ay developing country. And when we talk about disasters kasi, talagang pag tinamaan ka, marami na ang nagkakascade na ito. And since we're talking about finance also, it's a zero-sum game. So really, preventive adaptation is key. Planning that's based on available science is key, and implementation and follow through without any further discussion. That has to happen. And that has to happen because it's the best interest of the nation. A nation that wants to be resilient not only to climate change, but all sorts of challenges.
Yes, sir. I agree with all your points. Before we conclude this interview, sir, I'll let you talk to our viewers. You've also mentioned earlier about the simple transformative actions. So, as we end, sir, para sa isang normal na mamamayan, what can they do to mitigate climate change?
Maraming salamat sa pagkakataong ito. Kailangan mga kababayan, when we talk about climate change, we don't think of this as a problema lang na nasa labas natin. Lagi nating pakakatandaan na ang solusyon ay nasa tao. Ang climate change ay bunsod ng human activities. Kung kaya't ang human activities na adjusted ay makakatulong para maibsan ang cost ng climate change or mapaigting pa ang ating paghahanda. Paano po ito? Kung may options po tayo po ay mag-lessen ng ating greenhouse gas emissions, and pwede tayo tayo ay gumamit ng public transportation. Hopefully, of course, public transportation picks up because that's also one of the emphasis of our administration right now to improve on public transportation. Ano pa po ba? Kailangan alam po natin ang cost ng climate change at ano pang magagawa natin. Simple lang po, ang pakiusap namin on top of our list is we lessen our use of single-use plastics. Iba po talagang epekto nito dahil ang plastic sa pagpagawa pa lang at paggamit nito ay may epekto na sa ating environment, sa ating kalikasan. Siguro just to make it short, no, Ma'am Rose, isipin na lang natin na ang mundo ay ang ating tahanan. Ayaw natin ng tahanan na madumi, ayaw natin ng tahanan na mabaho, ayaw natin ng tahanan na mahina ang ating haligi, ayaw natin ng tahanan na hindi resilient or hindi matibay. So, alam natin ang dapat nating gagawin. Kailangan magandang maintenance natin, una pa maganda ang planning natin, and then handa tayo sa mangyayari. These things, when brought together, will help make our country, our families more resilient. Yun nga po, ang 4Ps, pakatandaan natin. Tapos siguro when it comes to consumer behavior po, ibalik natin yung panahon na we all feel responsible for everything that we do. Whether it's buying things, sometimes bumibili na tayo ng sobra-sobra na hindi naman natin kailangan at itatapon na lamang natin. Sa ating pagbili ng pagkain, kailangan maayos tayo, zero food waste tayo. Tapos yung value ba na ang sinasabi natin ay nagtitipid, hindi nagwawaldas, hindi nang-aabuso ng ating kapaligiran. Dahil kung ano ang ginagawa natin sa kapaligiran natin, whether it's human-made or whether it's from nature, ay syempre magkakaroon ng epekto. Sabi nga sa Climate Change Commission, no responsibility is too big and no. Pero syempre, the encouragement ay gawin natin yung, let's aspire to do something better. Maybe at times, at kami po ay nakikiramay sa lahat ng mga nasalanta nitong bagyo, maybe these times, we remember that we have to honor those who have gone before us. We have a responsibility to make things better, not just for those who have passed on, but also for those who are living. Ayaw na po natin na mangyari ito, pero lahat po ito kinakailangan ng matatag na puso, malino na sinasabi ng Climate Change Commission, pagpaplano, pag-design based on best available science at implementation. Wag po tayo nakakatsaga, mas maging scientific tayo in our approach, participate in all of the climate action activities and programs that we have, and we understand na hindi po ito one-shot deal lang. Ito ay pagbabago ng buong sistema, pagbabago ng kultura, pagbabago ng pag-iisip. Yes, medyo mahirap po siya, challenging siya, pero tandaan po natin, ang Pilipino ay marami nang napagdaanan paghihirap at hamon. Pero ang Pilipino always rises to the occasion. But what we don't want is that we continue to suffer more losses and damages. So we have to remain committed. At tayo po dapat ay believe sa kakayahan ng Pilipino na pwede nating baguhin ang ating kinabukasan kung tayo ay nagsasama-sama. At pag ginawa po natin yun, sigurado po tayo ay magkakaroon ng Pilipinas na isang bagong bansang matatag.
Those are really practical steps that we hope our viewers were able to take note of. Secretary Borja, this has been really an insightful conversation. Thank you so much po, and thank you so much for your time.
Maraming salamat po.
Again, that has been Executive Director and Vice Chairperson of the Climate Change Commission, Secretary Robert Borge. Muli, samahan niyo ako sa susunod na linggo para alamin ang bawat katotohanan sa likod ng kontrobersya.